We're going TeresMajor. So, okay, so I got my posterior cuff. That's where I just was, right? So I was just rolling out right here. Okay, we actually want to go. So when I get behind that or underneath that, okay, you can kind of feel where there's starting to be a little bit of a gap between our shoulder muscle and then our scap. So if you reach all the way around it and you feel like your shoulder blade, okay, that's your scapula. We're trying to go right in between those two things. So here's my shoulder blade. Okay, it's right here, that outside border. Okay, here is my rotator cuff. I'm not trying to hit either one. I'm trying to get right in between both of those. Okay, so I'm getting between where I just was and then outside of my shoulder blade. And it's going to be likely like right in here. You could probably actually put your fingers on there and you could probably just do it to your, like do it with your own hand and feel a pretty good, like tight spot in there. But that's the part we're going to roll on. So from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up against the wall. Once you kind of figure out where that is, again, it's kind of like this gap between our shoulder blade and then underneath the shoulder. Okay, and so from there, I'm just going to put the tennis ball up against it or my lacrosse ball, whatever I have, baseball, and I'm just going to roll on it against the wall. Okay, at some point you might be able to do this on the ground, but with the wall, you can really control your pressure, and you'll know when you find it because it does not feel very good. Okay, so I got it right there. So that's where I'm at to feel it if you need a reference. Okay, so we're just gonna hang out on it for a little bit and kind of roll on it. Okay, you'll find is like right when I go towards my armpit, so like when I'm a little bit deeper underneath my armpit, that's when I can really feel it. Okay, we don't want to get too high to where it's on our shoulder, and we don't necessarily want to be on our lat. It's kind of in between those two things. Okay, but I'm just gonna roll back and forth. I can go this way, I can go up and down slightly. We're just gonna spend some time there. If you get to that point where you have to like really grit your teeth, that's when you need to stop and you just need to breathe. Okay, now we're going to take our arm. We're just going to, once we find that kind of gritty spot where the pain's pretty good, okay, now we're just going to stretch across. So just give yourself a little stretch. Again, we don't want to force anything. Okay, we want it to be pretty light stretch, but we're going to stretch across with our shoulder, and then we're going to push on it. Okay, once you get about 10 where you've gone back and forth, okay, now I'm going to go internal, external. And notice I'm not perfect. I'm not like perpendicular with the wall. My back's not flat against the wall. It's about 45 degrees. So my arm's out at about 45 degrees. It's up at 90 degrees with my shoulder line. But from here, I'm just going to internally and externally rotate. We're going to do about 15 to 20 of those. Okay, next one. Now we're going to straighten our arm out. So it's not up against the wall, but it's about 45 degrees. And we're going to go up and down into shoulder flexion. So again, I'm still pinning that tennis ball up against the wall. And I'm trying to move through as much of a range of motion as possible. If you find a spot where it really kind of sticks and doesn't feel very good, maybe spend some time there. So for me, it gets pretty gritty about right here. I don't know if that's about 100 to 120 degrees. So you can spend a little bit more time there if you want. And then once you feel it kind of loosen up, then you go full range of motion again. And once I get down in here, it actually gets a little gritty again. So I'm going to spend some time there too. Again, make sure you're breathing and then go full range of motion. Okay, and then the last one. Now we're gonna press. So imagine you're holding a dumbbell. We'll press up and down. Okay, relax.